Hello! Today we are going to be discussing the new D.Va and Mercy changes that were introduced in the Junkertown patch. First we'll talk about the new D.Va. In order to understand why new D.Va sucks though, we first need to understand what made the old D.Va cool. D.Va is one of the easiest characters to understand and play, but that doesn't mean she lacked depth. Here's an image representing her abilities. We have the moving, the boosting, the shooting, and the matrixing. All of these interact in ways that make lots of fun little decisions for the player. While moving, you can choose to shoot, but at the sacrifice of speed. And that is a very small decision, but it's still a little thing the player has to think about. You also can't shoot while you're boosting, but you can use your matrix. The mobility of boost and protection of matrix allows you to quickly protect someone in need. But again, you can't shoot while you're boosting. You are a tank, and you do protect your team. You don't dive into someone and just shoot them while doing it, but you can dive into somebody with a teammate and protect the teammate while they're attacking them, or help them to attack them. This makes the character have lots of little micro decisions, and because the abilities sometimes don't work together, you have to pick which ones are the most important for the situation. The big example of this is that when she gets desuited or uses her ult, she can no longer use any of her normal abilities. All of these decisions where her abilities don't or do work with one another add a lot of small micro decisions to her abilities, and it really makes her feel like that StarCraft 2 player with all the little micro decisions. Overall, D.Va was a character that dealt some damage but needed help with kills and used her mobility to rush to those in need with her matrix. And while doing this, the player had to choose which abilities they needed the most and made small but important decisions about that. Now on to the new D.Va. Hana got a new ability, Micro Missiles. Let's take a look at our handy little ability guide. Currently some moves work together and some conflict. If Micro Missiles didn't work while matrixing, there might be an interesting choice between attacking or protecting while boosting. If Micro Missiles didn't work while normally firing, you'd have to choose between range or close-up consistency. Instead, Micro Missiles can be used for no penalty but starting their cooldown when doing anything. Normally, using one of D.Va's moves locks out other options, making for some interesting management of her skills. Missiles aren't interesting in that respect. You just use them whenever it's right with no consideration for anything else you are doing. And there isn't anything wrong with skills like that, there are lots in the game, but what made D.Va unique was the connection and often restrictions her moves caused. Micro Missiles alone don't ruin that aspect to her, but the other changes pushes it to the absolute edge. D.Va can now shoot while boosting for no penalty. So remember our little graph with all those fun interactions between her skills? Now it's this. You can't shoot in Matrix, and you get slowed for shooting while moving. D.Va lost the entire aspect of her, where you micromanaged what you could and couldn't do, along with her skill cooldowns. These two aspects together, I felt, made D.Va feel like the StarCraft player, and made her really fun to play, even with how simple she really was. Now D.Va can just fly at someone puking bullets and missiles and hope they die, then leave with Matrix up. Also with this patch, Matrix's uptime was halved from 4 to 2 seconds. All of these changes together make D.Va less of a tank and more of a DPS. And this isn't to say D.Va didn't need changes. Her Matrix in particular was too strong, but unlike a character like Symmetra, she didn't need an overhaul like this. She just needed little tweaks. If you shoot with a Matrix, it eats at the meter, so as you shoot it, it makes it disappear faster. That would nerf it and make it more fun to fight. Instead, a cool character has been changed from micro decisions, the tank, to spam attacks, the DPS. And next we are going to discuss Mercy, a character who did need a rework. Old Mercy simply wasn't fun. It wasn't even that she was too strong, it just plainly wasn't fun. Playing hide and seek isn't that exciting. Being Mercy and sitting in a corner hoping your team dies is annoying for everyone. The enemy team groans as they poke through bushes hoping to find you, and your team is sitting there with one less player because the optimal strategy is for Mercy to stop playing the game. This is all simply a mess, and a change needed to happen. The new Mercy is a step in the right direction, but still very annoying. Mercy can now res one person every 30 seconds. Her ultimate makes her gun better, makes her heals and damage boost better, and lets her fly. It also resets the new res and makes it a 10-second cooldown during its 20-second duration, meaning you can do 3 reses fairly quickly. Now, aside from the fact that an ult where they just do everything they normally do better is kind of boring, this is much better. But it still isn't quite there yet. The new frustration is that the first kill of a fight almost never matters, especially for characters like Widowmaker and Hanzo who kill someone from afar to try to open something up for their team. They're kinda useless now because Mercy just hits a button, and their contribution didn't matter anymore. And this kinda happens no matter what. The first person who dies just gets back up. Even if you are in a big team fight, the first person who dies usually just gets right back up. Especially with how often Mercy used to solo res and duo res in the past, nothing feels like it changed, really, except that it happens the second the gates open, before Mercy had to at least charge the ultimate to do so. Now she just has it right away, which is super overwhelmingly annoying. Luckily, as I said, this is much closer to good than the old Mercy, and there are lots of ways to try to fix it. You can make it start on cooldown when the game starts, meaning there's a grace period. Although if you do that, you might want to make the first res take a little bit longer, like 60 seconds or something, but that minor tweak would reduce the issue heavily. Another option is to make the new res use or be restricted by Mercy's ultimate meter. Perhaps it costs 20% to res, or you must have at least 50% of the meter to res whatsoever. Both of these changes makes it take longer to use and add some additional ult management elements to the character, increasing skill ceiling. Another issue is that res targets gain their entire health pool back. For squishies, this isn't a big deal, but for tanks, it can be really frustrating. To solve this, you can make the ult percent equal to the amount of health the target has when they have back, although that kind of destroys squishies, so perhaps make it so that when a res target gets back up, they have 200 health, or 250 flat, no matter what, so that squishies are fine, but tanks still need a little bit of help to get back to their full potential. Would really make things better. These suggestions will make the new res more fun to fight and Mercy more interesting to play, while not sacrificing what makes Mercy, Mercy. So those are my thoughts on the new D.Va and Mercy. I think they both need some work and hope to see them continually changed until they are at a good place. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.